There's a place just outside of Mount Vernon, Ohio, where the wind seems to tell a story. It's a lonely farmhouse, weathered and gray, standing forgotten against the rolling hills. Most people drive by without a second glance, just another relic of a bygone era. But if you stop, if you really look, you might notice something unsettling. The paint is peeling, the porch is sagging, and the windows are like vacant eyes staring out at nothing. Yet, one window, an upstairs one, sometimes holds a secret. Locals have whispered about this place for generations. They talk about the family who built it, who poured their hopes and dreams into its very foundation, only to vanish without a trace. Some say they simply moved on, seeking fortunes elsewhere, but others believe a darker tale, one of tragedy and loss that has tethered spirits to the land. They speak of strange lights seen from the road, sounds of laughter carried on the night air, and a persistent feeling of being watched by unseen eyes. On certain nights, when the moon is just a sliver in the sky and the wind howls like a grieving soul, that one upstairs window comes to life. It's not a steady light, but a flicker, a brief dancing movement that you'll miss if you blink. Is it a reflection, a trick of the light, or is it something else? A lonely figure, perhaps, pacing back and forth, forever waiting for someone who will never return. We decided to investigate, setting up our cameras to watch through the long, cold night. As darkness fell, the old house seemed to groan under the weight of its own history. Every creak of the wood, every rustle in the overgrown fields, sent a shiver down our spines. For hours, nothing. The house was a dark, silent silhouette. Then, just after midnight, we saw it. A faint, ethereal glow appeared in that very window. It pulsed, grew brighter, then dimmed, revealing a shadowy form moving within. Was this proof? Was the old farmhouse in Mount Vernon truly haunted? What we captured that night is something you have to see to believe. Join us as we uncover the secrets of this forgotten place. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to subscribe for more unexplained mysteries. The heavy wooden door groans open, a sound that hasn't been heard in decades. A wave of thick, musty air hits me, carrying the scent of decay and forgotten memories. This is it, the old Blackwood Manor. My grandpa always told me stories about this place, tales I dismissed as campfire scares. But standing here now, I'm not so sure. My flashlight beam cuts through the oppressive darkness, illuminating a blizzard of dust motes dancing in the air. The grand foyer is a shadow of its former self. A thick layer of gray dust blankets everything, from the rotting floorboards to the grand splintered staircase. It's like stepping into a tomb. As my light sweeps across the walls, a chill colder than the night air crawls up my spine. Long, deep claw marks are gouged into the plaster, tearing through the faded, peeling wallpaper. They look fresh. Too fresh. What kind of animal could do this? I move deeper into the house, my footsteps echoing unnervingly in the silence. The hallway is lined with portraits. The Blackwood family, I presume. Stern-faced men and women in stiff, old-fashioned clothing stare out from their gilded frames, but their eyes are all gone. Every single one has been violently scratched out, leaving jagged, black voids that seem to stare right through me. It feels like a warning, a deliberate act of desecration. Who would do this, and why? My heart is hammering against my ribs, each beat a drum in the deafening quiet. I came here for answers, to find out what really happened to my great-aunt, the last person to live in this house. The official story was that she just vanished, but Grandpa always hinted at something darker. Now, surrounded by this malevolent silence and these sightless portraits, I'm beginning to believe him. Every shadow seems to writhe. Every creak of the old house sounds like a footstep. I feel like I'm being watched by the very walls around me. This house doesn't just hold secrets. It feels alive, and it doesn't want me here. If you're fascinated by mysteries and haunted places like this, Make sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell. We're just getting started on uncovering the secrets of Blackwood Manor, and you won't want to miss what we find next. Thanks for watching. Have you ever looked at an old photograph and felt like you were staring into another time? Like you could almost hear the laughter, feel the warmth of the sun on their skin? This is a portrait of a little girl. We don't know her name, where she lived, or what her favorite game was. But her smile tells a story, doesn't it? Her eyes, so bright and full of life, seem to hold a universe of dreams and hopes. This picture was found tucked away, untouched for decades, a silent witness to a life we can only imagine. What was she thinking in this moment? Maybe she was excited about a birthday party, or perhaps she just shared a secret with a photographer. Every wrinkle in the paper, every faded hue tells a part of her tale. It makes you wonder about all the countless stories hidden away in attics and forgotten albums, each one a precious piece of history. This single image connects us to the past in a way that words sometimes can't. It reminds us that behind every face in a black and white photo, there was a vibrant, breathing person with their own joys, sorrows, and aspirations. Her world was so different from ours, yet that spark in her eyes feels so familiar. It's the universal spark of childhood, of potential, of a future waiting to unfold. What stories do your family photos tell? Maybe it's time to pull out those old albums and take a closer look. You might discover a connection to your own history that you never knew existed. You might even find a pair of eyes, just like these, staring back at you from across the years, reminding you of where you come from. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this little trip back in time, please like and subscribe for more stories from the past. Alright, so it's a little past 3 in the morning, and I'm not sure if you guys can hear this, but something woke me up. I was dead asleep, and then I heard this faint noise. At first, I thought maybe it was the pipes or the house settling, the usual old house sounds. But it's been going on for about 10 minutes now, and it's starting to really freak me out. It sounds like a soft tapping, almost like a scratching. And the weirdest part, it feels like it's coming from inside the walls. I know, it's probably just a mouse or some other critter that got in. That's what I keep telling myself. But the sound, it's so rhythmic, so consistent. Tap, tap, tap. It doesn't sound like a frantic animal. It sounds deliberate. I've been trying to pinpoint where it's coming from. I started in the living room, and it seemed to be coming from the main wall that separates the living room and the kitchen. So I came in here, and now it sounds like it's right behind the cabinets. I'm going to try and get a little closer. Can you hear that? It's definitely getting louder. It's not just a soft tapping anymore. It's more like a knocking now. It's making my heart race. I live alone, so there's no one else in the house. It's just me and this sound. Okay, I'm right up against the wall now. The vibrations, I can feel them through the floor. It's not just the sound anymore. The whole wall feels like it's humming. What is going on? The camera is shaking in my hands. The knocking is getting so loud. It's echoing through the whole kitchen. It's not just in one spot anymore. It feels like it's coming from everywhere at once. It's moving. It's getting closer. It's coming up the wall. I can hear it moving. Oh my God, it's right behind me now. It's right here. What do I do? What is that? It's not stopping. It's just getting louder and louder and... Wait, do you see that? The drywall? It's starting to crack. Have you ever had that feeling? That prickly sensation on the back of your neck that tells you you're not alone, even when you can't see anyone? It's a primal fear, one that has haunted humanity since the beginning of time. The fear of the unseen. Imagine this, a long, dark hallway. The kind you find in old houses or forgotten hospitals. The air is thick, heavy, and a single flickering light bulb at the far end does more to create shadows than to illuminate anything. You're standing at one end, your heart a frantic drum against your ribs. Suddenly, a sound. The slow, tortured creak of a door opening. It's the first door on the left, swinging inward on rusty hinges. You didn't touch it, no one is there. You stare into the pitch black room it reveals, but see nothing. Your breath hitches. You tell yourself it's just the draft, an old house settling. But then it happens again. The next door down, on the right this time. It groans open, just like the first. A sequence. One after another, the doors begin to open. Left, then right, then left again. Creak, groan, creak. Each sound is a footstep. An invisible entity is walking down the hall, announcing its presence one door at a time. It's getting closer. The sound is now just a few feet away. You can almost feel the air shift as this unseen thing passes by. The final door, the one right next to you, begins to move. It's opening slowly, deliberately, as if whatever is on the other side wants you to watch. It's not a draft. It's not the house settling. It's something else, something that follows its own rules, and it's right here. The space beside you feels impossibly cold. What do you do when the final door swings wide open and the footsteps stop right in front of you? Let me know your biggest fear in the comments below. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to subscribe for more chilling tales. The old manor stood silent, a forgotten relic swallowed by ivy and time. I'd heard the stories, of course. Whispers of the Vancroft family, whose portraits line the grand hall, their faces scratched out by some long-dead, maddened hand. They said the house was a tomb, a place where the past refused to die. As a paranormal investigator, or more accurately, a thrill seeker with a camera, this was a story I had to see for myself. I, Ethan, was about to walk into a legend. The front door groaned open, revealing a cavern of dust and shadows. Moonlight struggled through grimy windows, illuminating the main hall. And there they were, a dozen portraits, tall and imposing, marching down the length of the corridor. Each one was a masterpiece of vandalism. Canvases torn, faces gouged and scraped away, leaving only jagged wounds where eyes, noses, and mouths should have been. It was unnerving, a gallery of faceless ghosts. I raised my camera, the familiar weight, a small comfort in the suffocating silence. I started filming, narrating my initial impressions, describing the cold that clung to the air. I moved closer to the first portrait, a woman in a velvet gown. The scratch marks over her face were deep, violent. I zoomed in, focusing on the empty space where her eyes would have been, and then it happened. My breath caught in my throat. In the center of that ruined canvas, a pair of realistic human eyes opened. They were blue, laced with red veins, and they blinked. Slowly, deliberately, I stumbled back, my heart hammering against my ribs. Was I seeing things? The dust, the tricks of the light? I swung my camera to the next portrait, a stern-looking man in a military uniform. The same thing. From the mangled void of his face, two brown eyes stared out, blinking at me. One by one, I panned down the line. Every single scratched portrait, every faceless ancestor of the Vancroft line, now had living, breathing, blinking eyes, and they were all looking directly at me. I wasn't just in a haunted house. I was in an audience with the dead. And the show was just beginning. Stay tuned and hit that subscribe button if you want to see what happens next. You won't want to miss this. The flickering fluorescent light above the subway platform hummed a dissonant tune, each buzz sending a shiver down Ethan's spine. He'd missed the last train, of course, just his luck. The station was deserted, a cavern of cold concrete and echoing silence. He checked his phone again. No signal. A sigh escaped his lips, misting in the chilly air. He was completely alone. Or so he thought. A faint sound, like a nail scraping against tile, made him freeze. It came from the far end of the platform, lost in the shadows where the lights couldn't reach. He squinted, trying to pierce the darkness. Nothing. Probably just a rat. This station was infamous for them. Still, the hair on the back of his neck stood on end. He pulled his jacket tighter, a feeble defense against the sudden, unnatural cold that seemed to seep from the walls. The scraping sound came again, closer this time. It was rhythmic, deliberate. Scrape, pause, scrape, pause. It was accompanied by something else now. A soft, wet sound like fabric dragging through a puddle. Ethan's heart hammered against his ribs. He told himself it was his imagination, that the long day and the empty station were playing tricks on him. But he couldn't shake the feeling of being watched. He decided to move closer to the stairs, to the faint promise of the street above. He took a slow, cautious step, his boots echoing loudly in the silence. The scraping stopped. Absolute silence descended, thick and suffocating. He held his breath, straining to hear anything at all. Then, from directly behind him, a whisper. A cold, airy whisper that wasn't human. It was just one word. His name. Ethan spun around. She was standing inches away, her feet not quite touching the grimy floor. She was floating. A young girl, maybe 10 years old, in a tattered dress. Her eyes were pitch-black voids, twin pools of infinite night that seemed to pull the very light from the room. But it was her mouth that broke his mind. Her jaw was stretched wide, impossibly, unnaturally wide, locked in a silent scream that filled his head with a sound he would never forget. He tried to scream, but all that came out was a choked gasp as the darkness in her eyes rushed forward to swallow him whole. The forest is quiet tonight, way too quiet. Usually you can hear the crickets, maybe an owl, but right now, nothing. Just the crunch of leaves under my boots. I came out here to investigate the old Blackwood Manor. You know the stories. The family that just vanished in the 1920s. The strange lights people see in the windows. The whispers carried on the wind. Most people say it's just local legend, a ghost story to scare kids. But I've always felt there was something more to it. The house is just up ahead, a dark silhouette against the moonlight. It looks even more menacing in person than in the photos. The air is getting colder and I can see my breath. It's funny, the weather forecast said it would be a clear, mild night. As I get closer, a weird feeling washes over me, like 1,000 eyes are watching from those dark, empty windows. It's probably just my imagination running wild, but my heart is pounding in my chest. Okay, I'm at the front door now. It's huge, made of dark, heavy oak with a rusted iron knocker. I was expecting it to be locked tight, but when I pushed on it, it creaked open. That's inviting. The smell that hits me is old and musty, a mix of decay and dust, with something else underneath it, something sweet, almost like wilting flowers. It's completely dark inside. I'm turning on my flashlight. Wow, the foyer is massive. Cobwebs hang like drapes from a grand chandelier, and the furniture is all covered in white sheets, like ghosts waiting in a silent room. Every step I take echoes in the silence. The floorboards groan under my weight, like the house is sighing. There's a huge staircase right in front of me, leading up into the darkness of the second floor. That's where the children's rooms were supposed to be. That's where the stories say the activity is the strongest. I don't know what I expect to find up there. Maybe an old diary, a forgotten toy, some clue as to what happened to the Blackwood family. I have to admit I'm getting a little spooked. My hands are shaking, but I came all this way. I have to see this through. I'm going to head upstairs. Wish me luck. I'm going to keep the camera rolling, just in case. Here we go, step by step. The air is so heavy up here. It feels like I'm walking through water. What was that sound? It sounded like someone's breathing. It's not me. Oh no. What is happening? No, get off me. Let go. Somebody, help.